Work is broken, and so is the way you think about it. Host Lori Rudiman is picking up the pieces so you can take control of your career, put yourself first, and be your own HR. With the Let's Fix Work podcast, here's Lori.
Hey, Jennifer, how you doing?
Hi, Lori. I am fine. And we are already having too much fun this morning.
We are. We're giggling. You know, I had a podcast guest that I thought was going to occupy this time, and this person is busy. I can't believe it. They have something better to do. And you kindly suggested that we just catch up and talk about
No,
things.
I don't think I kindly suggested. I was like, pick me.
So this is our life.
Yes.
And, you know, we were talking about what the rest of my day entails, and I've had a few cancellations. So I went online and found an open massage appointment. So I'm going to go do that this morning. And then I'm booked from like 2:00 to 9:00 tonight. So what are you doing today?
Well, now I'm considering my life choices and wondering why I'm not getting a massage today. But
I know, yeah.
You know, just doing what I need to do because it is the end of the year. And this is the time of the year when everybody fakes not working. So it's like
Right.
we're all working and thinking that we are the only ones that are working and getting caught up. And then you send emails and you get 1,000 out of office messages. And I'm like, I see you there. I know you're working.
You see me getting a massage. That's what you see.
Except for you. You're the only one who's doing it right. The rest of us are like, the holidays are here. Time to work.
This could be a condition of the fact that my business is upside down at this moment. All year writing my book and my sales funnels are a little, I don't know, they're a little hinky, as they would say in Chicago. They're a little broken, but I believe in 2020, right? So I'm back on the horse. I've been doing some coaching already, and I've got this coaching program out. And so I feel good about that. I've got some speeches booked for next year, but maybe 2020 is the year I get serious about myself as a businesswoman. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I don't know. As somebody who has watched you from afar, I think you've been pretty serious along the way. So you've done pretty well for yourself. But I have questions about the book. Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I have to sign an NDA? Can we?
No, nobody cares.
So like you wrote the book.
I did.
Many months last year. You've turned it in. It's in, I guess, the editing process still, or?
Yeah, still. It's sitting with me. I turned it into my editor, and she had notes, and she gave them back to me and said, before I line edit it, you know, go through, kind of take big chunks out, I would like you to think about these themes, the structure, the way you're telling the story. And I have finished 5 of my 10 chapters in really addressing her comments. But, you know, there's a famous author out there that I can't remember who talked about the editing process, who said editing is like a dog eating its own vomit, which is why I probably can't remember the person who
you
said
should
that.
see my face right now.
Right,
Yeah.
I did. But it's true. It's like you're going back to like your stuff that's been regurgitated. And it's like, oh man, I'd like to think about new things. So the editing process is more painful for me than writing. So yeah, that's where I am right now, eating my own vomit.
Well, yeah, that took a turn. That went a different direction than I thought. But I guess, you know, I'm always fascinated with people who write books. First of all, congratulations to anyone who's written a book of any kind,
truly.
self-published or otherwise. But really fascinated by people who traditionally publish, like yourself, with how long the process takes. And I realize a lot of that process, like the writing, the editing, you know, the agent getting the selling the book, all those things at least make sense to me. But then there's this big long period upcoming after the editing process is done where your book comes out when? January 2021?
Well, here's the deal. We've got the upcoming presidential election that the Russians will probably steal anyway, you know, so that we know how that's going to go down. So in this period, it's almost like a blackout period for a lot of creative professionals because there's no oxygen available from the summertime through the election. So my publisher and my agent are betting on the fact that people will be reinvigorated, will want to focus on themselves on January 1st, 2021, like new year, new you. So yeah, I will be doing press and PR and hopefully book tours in advance, going to different publishing conferences to talk about my upcoming book, doing a lot of pre-marketing. You know, we talk in HR about pre-boarding, getting people ready to come to a company. And I think that's what I'll be doing the second half of next year. But yeah, I will be sitting on a book that's ready to go, but not quite published. So I'm a little concerned about that, a little worried, but I trust the good advice of my editor and my agent. And if they say I'm not going to be able to get on Good Morning America because of Donald Trump, I'm going to trust that, right? So
Well, I think, once you've written a great book, it's always going to be a great book. So I'm
That's
not
what they
worried
said.
about that, but it's more like a whole year. Oh my
well, part of that
gosh.
year too is cutting down the forest to print the book. Part of that year.
I
Yeah,
hope
and
you're
also-
planting some trees on behalf of your
I'm
book.
going to do a carbon offset, yes. And part of that too is submitting me, which I didn't know about this, for awards like Book of the Year 2021, like stuff like that. So I've got a whole publishing team that's also working on a Goodreads strategy. And, we're in the world of work. And so we focus on our platforms, but Goodreads and Amazon are incredibly important platforms for authors. And they have a whole marketing strategy around that takes more than 90 days. So yeah, getting the sales force excited, right? It's like launching a new drug. When I was back in the pharmaceutical world, you don't just launch it and expect it to sell. You've got to get your salespeople excited about it. So I'll be talking to sales and marketing professionals and booksellers. And I don't know, it's definitely a different way of working for me, but I'm excited to learn.
Well, as somebody who has a second row seat, I'd say Ken and the cats have the first row seat probably, but it's just
They're not much further ahead than you, Jennifer.
well, it's just
Right.
been fascinating to see, again, I kind of assumed or heard from what I've learned from others about what this traditional book writing process is like, but it's really hard. And so I'm very proud of you for
Thank
what you've
you.
done so far. And I hate to say, without even having dipped my toe into 2020 yet, that I'm excited about 2021, but I'll go ahead and say I'm excited about 2021 when your book
Thank
comes out.
you. That's why you're such a sweet friend to me. Thank you so much. But I realize that one of the things that happens when you're writing a book is that that's all you can think about. That's all you talk about. That's what your world becomes. It might be like a first time parent. You think the world, the sun rises and falls based on your pregnancy and your children, but there are other things happening in the world. So I hope I'm not so myopic that I don't ask my good friends what they're doing for 2020. So we know that I will be in the world of book writing in 2020, but what are you doing next year? What are your plans? Where are we traveling?
Oh my gosh, we are traveling to all the places we did not.
Are we
not.
finally doing the donkey burrow thing that we've talked about?
Yeah, that's in July, Fairplay, Colorado. We need to reserve our donkey right now for the donkey marathon.
Oh
Look
my
it up.
gosh.
Fairplay burrow races for anybody that wants to check that out.
Yeah.
Someday we will do that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of look back on 2019. I've my brain's flipped over. And that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't travel enough. I did travel and I got to do some cool things. You did as well. But this year, check me if I'm wrong, I don't think we took a LFR JM round the world trip of any kind. We went to Connecticut.
Which is a world in and of itself.
But we didn't go get involved in a riot anywhere.
No.
We didn't go yell at pedestrians that don't speak the language.
Well, one of us didn't. I did go to Singapore. I did yell at somebody.
Okay, so I just didn't witness it.
Right.
I think that's been, if I look back on my regrets of 2019,
Aw.
that's it. I missed
Yeah.
that. I mean, I know you have a husband and
I do.
it kind of makes sense that you guys travel together sometimes, but I guess Ken didn't opt out enough this year for me.
Well, and I didn't really have any big international trips until the end of the year. And you went to Jersey, but I had a conflict. And so I didn't get to go to, is Jersey in the UK?
Jersey, for the people who are like me, who thought Jersey was just in the New Jersey in the U.S.
Old Jersey. Went to Old Jersey.
I learned this year and had the pleasure of going to the island of Jersey, which is a British provocateur. So it's not like a country. It's not like part of the UK. It's a whole thing on its own, which was amazing. And yes, I did have to go by myself. And I went to Ireland on vacation and rode horses as part of that trip. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we didn't do the one of us speaking, the other one tags along, or we just go for the heck of it trip. So your question was, where am I traveling? I'm like, where are we traveling?
Well, I'm going to Amsterdam in February if you want to come along. I mean, it's not the best time to be in Amsterdam.
But yeah, it is kind of February.
Yeah. Hey, I don't schedule it. I think
I could. We've we've argued in the past about whether or not Cincinnati and North Carolina are parallel on the map.
What's
and
the answer?
The answer is that I'm wrong and Lori is right. North Carolina, Raleigh is much further south than Cincinnati. So, bleh.
Let's just talk about the weather to prove that.
It's 70 in Raleigh today. It is snowing and 20 degrees in Cincinnati.
Oh,
that might be why. But Laurie, I'm pretty sure Amsterdam might be above Cincinnati on the world map, which means it's probably colder and snowier in February.
I don't actually know. I'm an American, so my geography of any other place is totally off. But
hey, to the people of Amsterdam, I will come to see you and speak there and do all the things any time of year you want.
Totally.
But to tag along for a BFF trip, maybe I might.
Are we going to go to San Diego next year? Is that happening? Are you speaking at SHRM?
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to direct you to a wonderful limited series podcast that Ryan and I recorded live at the ERE Recruiting Innovation Summit. We sat down with 20 recruiting and TA leaders from around the world to hear what today's best recruiters are doing to stay sharp, stay relevant, and stay ahead. It's called The Talent Shift. You'll love it. You'll find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Listen, like, review, share. Do you?
They haven't. Well, they either haven't sent out notifications yet, or I'm just not getting one. Either is an option at this point.
We have been to San Diego together many times in the past for both SHRM and ERE. And I just have such fond memories of hanging out with you in that city. So I'm going to try to make that happen, even though
we should definitely go to San Diego one way or the other, because it is, I say it's my favorite U.S. city, but I have a lot of favorite cities.
You do. Yes.
It's definitely on my favorites list. I just love the weather. I love the vibe. I love San Diego. And maybe it's because I have so many good memories of hanging out there with you. We've done a lot of fun things in San Diego.
So San Diego was the place where we spent St. Patrick's Day, right? In that bar.
My mind just drew a blank. I do not remember.
So. Well, maybe not, but
it was ERE, so it would have been March. Yeah, whether or not it was St. Patrick's Day.
But I remember them having a crazy St. Patrick's Day in the gas lamp district with like women in like short kilts, which I'm not sure is Irish, but okay, we won't pick a fight there. And going into bars, and it was just being super crazy.
Well, for those, let's take a step back. For those that are listening, let me describe these trips. These trips are
how I got away with all this.
These trips, particularly this one in March of whenever in San Diego, is I am the version of the designated driver, although no one has designated me as such. I'm self-appointed. Even though nobody's driving, I'm the one that I need to keep my wits about me so that Laurie has... Basically, I'm your bodyguard, your protection.
And not necessarily, although sometimes because I've had too much to drink, but other times
this doesn't really nothing.
People.
Yeah, nothing necessarily to do with drinking. It just Laurie needs a bodyguard. So I appointed myself to this position. No one asked me to do this, but somewhere along the line, I realized that not only is she tiny, she's cute, and other people, particularly people of the male gaze, really find her fascinating.
They do.
So I get to go along as the ugly best friend.
Oh, stop it.
Who kind of like just sits there and gives them the stink eye when they get too talkative or whatever.
Oh, or
in
too
this particular incident, it was at the Whiskey in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing it. I mean, I will put you down if you hurt my girl. Yes. But
yeah, thank you.
This was me sitting next to Laurie, just rolling my eyes and laughing so hard at someone who is just having the weirdest conversation with her.
Well, I think it started out.
You can share if you want, but
yeah, I think it started out by him asking me how I look so good because I had 5 kids, and I said, I don't have 5 kids, I have 5 cats. But thank you, I look fantastic.
Yes, thank you for that compliment.
God. Jesus Lord. And is he a Viscount? Was he a prince? I mean, he had some like royal title.
This is a person who shall not be named, but I still follow him today. And just this last week, he's on Instagram in robes and doing spiritual things.
God.
I don't know. He's a yogi now, and we know what those are.
Right. I think he's just wealthy. I think that's what that came down to. He just had a lot of money. So we had that going on. And I think this was the same guy who was really fascinated by my
your tattoos.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God.
He could not get over. He was like, how many, where are they? And Laurie's like, Laurie was not giving up the number or the location, but he could not let it go. So,
oh, gross.
So that's just a sample of what it's like to travel with Laurie. And then, of course, my job becomes, how do I get her out of here?
Thank you.
So it's a whole security detail with I got my head in my earpiece talking to the security.
Aviator sunglasses on.
We're going out the back door. We're hopping in the Uber. I'm pulling her away. So,
but there have been events where we've gone, like that one in New York, where that one gentleman was fascinated with you, and you look at me, you're like, bug off.
That was completely different, people. Completely different. I was having a fascinating conversation with a married man who this was not in any way. We were talking about he had been to Burning Man to write about it. He was a writer, and he had been to Burning Man to write about it. And it was fascinating. It goes down in history as probably the most interesting conversation I've had with a person whose name I do not remember. But Laurie and the rest of the crew are all like talking about I don't know what, and I'm over here having just a fascinating conversation about Burning Man, of which I don't have any desire to ever go to, but I loved what he was sharing about, because he was talking not just about, it wasn't voyeuristic in the sense of like, here's all the crazy stuff that went down.
Yeah.
He really bought into the meaning of it and what it meant and what it said about society. And I just thought it was a really fascinating conversation.
Yeah. Champagne helps with that. Or
I was probably completely sober.
Well,
as was he, because we were engaged in a fascinating conversation.
Oh, of course.
Which,
yes.
As usual, I think the most fascinating conversations you have with people, I don't know that he asked me anything about me.
Oh,
but I talked to him for like 2 hours about him. And I was like, and I bet he left there going, she was really interesting.
Well, I do remember that, because I do remember being sent away because you were talking to a man, and I'm like,
get away. I don't need your protection, 5-foot person.
Well, we have had some good travel. We'll have to do that and maybe bring a microphone along in 2020. I think that could be fun.
Laurie on the street. Be like Billy on the street, God. Right?
Yeah. Actually, I think the more interesting thing would be just to get our reaction at the end of the night. What did we go through? Who did we talk to? What crazy things did we witness? Because we do witness a lot of crazy things, not just our own behavior, right? I mean, although often my own behavior, but other people's behavior and other things that we've seen. So it would be fun to kind of summarize that at the end of the night. Fun to me. I don't know.
Goals for 2021 when I accompany you on your book tour as your security manager.
Oh, man, I need it. Well, as I'm talking, I've got airplane throat. You have not been sniffling, but I know you were sniffling beforehand. We need to work on our, I think, overall well-being in 2020. That's a goal for me, to get more sleep, to take better care of myself, to start running with more regularity again, to not catch colds when I travel. I don't know. Do you have any well-being goals for 2020?
That sounded like a lot, man.
I think we're going to start with sleep.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had some major epiphanies in the last couple of months around managing my time.
Yeah.
I am not cured, but I think like anyone who maybe if you're on like a diet to lose a lot of weight, or if you're in some sort of 12-step program, I'm on like step 2 of my 12-step program to regain control of my life. And so it's really been helpful to kind of get more control of my to-do list. So
Wait, I'm gonna interrupt you because I want to hear more about these major epiphanies. And I know one is when you were thrown off your horse.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, my horse, who I love, who is a crazy crazy thing. It has been a great and wonderful thing that she and I have not parted ways in the couple of years that we've been partnering together. But we were out wandering around in the fields, just me probably saying something out loud to myself, like, I'm just so amazed how relaxed Roxy is out here. And we think, my trainer and I, nobody was around. I was as far away from the barn as I could get, next to the edge of the woods, which we had been by many times. And all of a sudden, she just felt like knives were coming at her or something. I don't know. She tried to run away. I tried to be the boss and make her go back and face whatever she was afraid of. And she said, I'll show you who's the boss. And she reared a bunch of times. And I was sitting there going, I'm so proud of you. This is really the dialogue in my head. I'm so proud of me. Look at me. I am not coming off. Look at me. Look at me. And then Roxy was like, look at you. And she was off. And so I lost consciousness, which I was in denial about for a while. And of course, had a little concussion. I guess that's what that means when you lose consciousness. And you walk back going, I guess my horse ran away. Oh, well.
Oh, Jennifer, so scary. So glad you were safe.
I was telling my trainer about it. We were talking about it again last week. And I'm like, I still laugh. I walked halfway through the field. I was literally probably a mile away from the barn. And I just start walking back going, is this a dream?
Oh.
I guess Roxy ran away. That's terrible.
Oh,
and it was just like being in La La Land. But anyway, she ran thankfully back to her stall, saddle, bridle, everything still on and intact. There was a person there that caught her, so she was safe. But yeah, it actually affected my body chemistry. My foot is still a little injured, but that is something that it makes me grateful again that I have had, knock on some wood, good luck with writing, because I know that like anything you do, you can get hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I think I'm kind of, it was the first few times we walked by that space again, I was a little nervous, but we've been out there since. But I think it kind of, I don't know that I sat down and had an epiphany, but I wasn't able to really work. Although I continued to show up at the desk every day and plod away at things, I wasn't able to concentrate and to focus, and I missed some commitments. And so it just reinforced for me that, as a person who works for myself, I've got to do a better job not only of prioritizing and managing my schedule, but I also have to get help. My business, and I recognized this when both of my parents became ill in 2011, and then my dad eventually passed away. If I'm taken out of commission for whatever reason, whether it's to care for someone else or to care for myself, there is no unbridled talent. And now, no DisruptHR. And so some things have to change. And so I've been making some baby steps in that direction, including, I share a podcast producer with you, Danny, and his team at Emerald City Productions. Actually, I referred them to you.
You did.
People who constantly ask me, oh, are you using the same people that Laura uses? I'm like, Laura uses the same people I use.
I love it. And you get a discount for that once you refer. So I love that. I mean, that's the way business ought to work.
So if you want to use Emerald City Productions, tell them I sent you, not Laura.
We're going to help the unbridled bottom line.
And then I hired a project manager, Angie, who's wonderful and has really helped me with some things. But it's all foundational. I mean, I will be in business 10 years in February with Unbridled Talent. DisruptHR just celebrated its 6th anniversary. It is way past time that I get some real systems in my business. And I don't know how we got from talking to wellness and running marathons and stuff to this is my marathon, actually.
It is.
I want, because it's been so poorly done in the past. But for my mental and physical health, I've got to get systems in place in my business where I don't know. I mean, I've read quotes of the various nature, like you dream of going to work for yourself so that you have freedom and control of your time. And I do have that, but I am a terrible boss because freedom and control of my time, yes, it means I can take a writing lesson on Friday afternoon, or if it's a pretty day, go out. But what it means today still is that if I am at home, which I work from home, and people go, well, that's nice. And it is nice because it's snowing outside today and I didn't have to take a drive. But if I am at home or near a device, my laptop or my phone, I am working. And when I am not working, I am thinking I will get back to one of those devices and start working. So that might mean that, I spend all day doing all the things. And then I do go out to the barn because it's a 3 3+ hour commitment every day to go see and ride my horse. But when I leave the house at 5 o'clock or whenever I leave, I'm thinking I'll be home at 8:30, I'll eat, and then I'll work until 11.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is not sustainable. I think I've sustained it longer than I did. And I think, to bring it back to the writing accident, it kind of helped me realize that at my advanced years, which mentally I am 23 and will always be 23. Physically, I am 55. And again, I think I'm healthier than most and sprier than most people my age. It's like this morning I filled out a survey, and it's the worst. It is literally the worst when you cross over into one of those next age things you have to check. And so now to check the 55 and up box is just horrors.
Well, I'm about to do 45 to 54 in January.
I'd go back.
Oh man.
But I want to be happy and healthy, and I do want, I do value the freedom that I have as an entrepreneur, but I want actual freedom, freedom where I have downtime. So I'll stop talking in a minute, but Laurie knows the story. I went to a conference this year, Igniting Souls conference with Carrie Oberbrunner, and one of the exercises that we did at the table during the conference was he asked us to go around and share one thing that we're struggling with everyone at the table. And there were 10 people at the table. And I was like, I'm perfect. I'm not struggling with anything, but I'll come up with something. And I said, I struggle with too many things to do and managing my time or something like that. And one of the women at the table, her and her husband run a side business, I guess, where they help young couples with marriage from a faith-based perspective. So I was already fascinated with them and what they're doing. But she said to me, and for people out there that are familiar with religious language of like a Sabbath, or in the Bible, it says, God made the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And then that's translated into remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. And myself, I'll answer for myself and maybe a lot of other people who I am a person of faith and I do a lot of things, but I guess over the years I've co-opted my, the idea of a Sabbath into
right. Yeah.
I'm sitting here working on my laptop. It's no big deal. And so what she said to me that day was, she said, are you, familiar with the concept of tithing? And I was like, certainly, which is giving 10% of your earnings, to God, because it's his money, and giving it back. And she said, I believe that you should do the same thing with your tithe, that you should, not 10%, but you should give a day of Sabbath back to God, and that just like he will multiply blessings, through tithes, which is what it says in the Bible. And Laurie, the atheist, is looking at me and going, okay, wrap this up
with this. Like, I believe that in rest and well-being. So like this, I'm tracking. Yes.
Yeah. So she said, if you give back the Sabbath day, in terms of your time, then God will multiply that. He will multiply your time and you will see a difference. And maybe it was right time, right message, right messenger. But I was like, that was my biggest takeaway from the conference. Yeah. And it was a great event where I'm like, it is a factor of me, I guess, not trusting God by thinking that I have to work all the time. And so I didn't do it right away because I had to do some things. But for since the week before Thanksgiving, every weekend before I plan out my week. Now I use a full focus planner and plan out my week. And I plan based off the weather because I want to ride on the prettiest day of the weekend. Based off the weather on the upcoming weekend, I choose a Sabbath day. So Saturday or Sunday or and Thanksgiving, I chose Thanksgiving as my Sabbath. I take that as a day where I don't open my devices. I still sneak a peek maybe at Instagram, but I don't open, in the past I was opening them. I might not be answering them, but that was still engaging. Right. Yeah. So I don't open email. I don't open the social medias other than for fun, like I said, maybe with Instagram. And I don't even go to the barn. So one day I organized my desk. Yeah. One day I cleaned off the clutter in my kitchen, which was very helpful. But I cook. I watch Netflix and movies that I've recorded. That I looked at my DVR and I have movies that I recorded in 2017. So I'm like, that's because I really don't watch that much TV because I'm always working. So I've introduced a Sabbath day back into my life. And I think that's going to pay some dividends. I've done 3 or 4 now. And I like it and I look forward to it.
Well, I love this idea. I mean, it's so practical and it's so, you don't have to be a person of faith to recognize burnout or lack of productivity go hand in hand. And so you want what every W-2 employee has, what every entrepreneur has, what Gary Vee has, time off so that when you come back to your business, you can love your business. You can be excited about your business. You can have energy about your business. And Jennifer, to go as many years as you have at just 110% is really not 110%. It slowly becomes 80% and 60%. And
looking for the inside scoop on payroll? Whether you're a payroll pro or just curious about your paycheck, we've got 2 podcasts you cannot miss. It's About Payroll delivers the latest trends for payroll pros, and It's About Your Paycheck is here for employees, breaking down pay and rights in simple terms. 2 great shows, 2 great hosts, and endless insights to keep you informed and empowered. Subscribe now and elevate your payroll knowledge. Brought to you by Work Defined, where payroll meets people.
Hi, I'm Stephen Rothberg.
And I'm Jeanette Leeds.
And together, we're the co-hosts of the High Volume Hiring Podcast.
Are you involved in hiring dozens or even hundreds of employees a year? If so, you know that the typical sourcing tools, tactics, and strategies, they just don't scale.
Yeah. Our bi-weekly podcast features news, tips, case studies, and interviews with the world's leading experts about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to high volume hiring.
Make sure to subscribe today.
Yeah, and what's ultimately suffered, I think there's a mental and maybe even a physical burnout factor to it. And I think a lot of people who probably are listening to this are saying, Jennifer works all the time. I don't see it. Really? Looks like she's always doing something else.
Well, other people should mind their own business.
That's why I said, remember when you see me, if it's like, okay, a beautiful day and I'm outside and you're like, it's 2 p.m., Jennifer's not working. That means that Jennifer is working at 11. That's what I used to tell my son. He was always like, you're always working. And I used the excuse. I'm like, but I take off and do whatever I want. But it meant that every other waking hour was working. And a lot of what I'm doing is not things that it's administrative work. It's data entry, especially with DisruptHR. So what has ultimately suffered, mental, physical health, I'm sure, is creativity.
Yeah.
So things like writing a blog post or doing podcasts. I took almost a little over a year off from doing my relatively new podcast. It's back now though, people. So go on over to Impact Makers Podcast.
We forgot to mention that. Yes. Host of Impact Makers Podcast, Jennifer McClure.
Makers. Where's Tim Sackett when I need him to say Impact Makers? But I took time out because I just couldn't find a way to fit that in. And also because there was no creativity. There's no, here's an idea I want to share about. And so I'm working my way back into that. I want to set aside time for writing, for creating. I want, spoiler alert, 2020 to be the year I write a book. Yeah. And I don't anticipate that it's going to be traditionally published for a lot of reasons. Number one being that I'd be like, I wrote a book and it was going to finish on July 1st, and you're not telling me it's not going to be published until 2023. It needs to go out into the world now.
Amount of patience to do what I'm doing. But I like that you're kind of refocusing and rethinking your business. I also like, and I don't remember who talks about how stuff needs to get on your calendar in order to get it done. But you're doing that, right? You're planning out your week. You're really rethinking how you approach your time. And these are good lessons for anybody, whether they're a full-time employee or an entrepreneur. So good for you for being honest and vulnerable and talking about that. And it's too bad you had that accident. I mean, it freaked me out as your friend. And the part that freaked me out too was that you're like, I'm fine. And clearly you are not fine. And I know it's funny. That's ego and part health insurance constraints, but
all the above, which by the way, I have a $7,500 deductible, but somehow my emergency room visit costs $15,000 something total. Yeah. But I ended up with only $1,500 or something out of pocket, which is still for a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you're ever thinking about going into business for yourself, people, health insurance, you need to have a plan. Because I'm blessed that I have at least coverage, but it is always a factor in the back of my head, the high deductible plan with a $560 a month premium. Although just signed up for my 2020 healthcare plan, and it for the first time, literally in 10 years, for the first time went down $10. So it's $540 a month next year.
That's a whole different show. We need Mark Stelzner to come on and explain to us how to fix this at some point. But
yes, please
2020 goals there. Well, I'm glad that you were safe from your accident. I'm sorry that it happened, but what emerged from this is a different take on life. And I'm encouraged for your 2020. I believe in you. You know that.
And I think I've learned, I've had a couple of head bangs. One was a stupid thing with another horse where I wasn't wearing a helmet and I tried to slide on her and slid off and banged my head. So, but I sat there that time going, I was out for a little bit and then I sat up and I was like, the whole next 10 minutes was me going, why wasn't I wearing my helmet?
Yeah.
So note to anybody that knows me, when Jennifer sounds like she's in La La Land, she is. Even though she's telling you she's fine and she can drive home and she can do all those things.
And
when she's going,
oh God, my foot's fine.
When you're around somebody and they just keep repeating a stupid statement over and over again, like, is this a dream?
Oh God.
Something is wrong. Take them to the hospital, get them checked out. But
even when they're going, don't take me to the hospital.
Yeah, enough about me. So we obviously have a book coming up for you.
We do.
We're going to plan someplace fun. We're going to go out and terrorize the locals somewhere. What are you most excited about in 2020? And the book, nothing about the book.
That's not exciting me anyway. So I think what I'm excited about in 2020 is also to do things a little bit differently in my own life. This past September, so I'll just share this with everybody. I got off of anti-anxiety medication, right? And so my goal for 2020 is to continue this sober looking view into the world and just facing the world with my own skills and being very transparent about it. So I don't know if I'll ever get to the point where I'm a total sober vegan, mostly because that sounds insufferable. But
I like it. Hashtag sober
but I'd
vegan.
like to continue this. I have this love-hate relationship with alcohol. I mean, I love it. I hate how I feel the next day. So I would like to continue weaning myself off of alcohol and going for longer and longer periods without drinking. Not because I feel like I have a disease, but just because I feel like it's so incompatible with the way I want to live my life. You only have a certain number of days on this planet, and I want to experience it fully and completely and authentically. And alcohol does the opposite to me. And so I really enjoy drinking champagne with you, Jennifer, and I will save it for those occasions. But, on a Tuesday night, what is this? Why would I do this to myself? So I'd like to continue that journey. I would like to continue my journey of loving more animals and not eating them, not wearing them, not buying animal products. So that's important to me. And, I've been talking about getting a dog for 22 years now. Could this be the year I get a dog? I may have to drop my husband because he really does not want a dog, but I'm hoping we can find a way to reconcile that and I can have a dog and a husband at the same time. So personally, I've got these little mini goals to have more animals and more love and more fun and more experiences in my life. So I don't know if I'll ever use the hashtag sober vegan.
I will. That's coming. That's going on my timeline soon.
It's terrible.
But I mean, again, just Jennifer Laurie Travel Stories. We go to Connecticut for some fancy dinner thing that Laurie wanted to go to, and I just tagged along. She rented an Airbnb, which was lovely in the woods of Connecticut. Literally called the Stone Cottage. It was great.
So beautiful.
Had a fireplace. Apparently, Laurie likes fires. Laurie's not that great at building a fire.
Wait. Who got the fire going the second night when you couldn't? I'm just saying.
Wait, no, I got it going the second night without the assist of the fire log. Thank you.
You did. Who got it really roaring, though?
Okay, you breathe on it. But anyway, Laurie built a fire. She's drinking her champagne. We're having girl conversations. We haven't been together in a while, so we've shared all the things. And we set off the fire alarm.
I don't know how only I set off the fire alarm. I think you were putting logs on there as well.
Laurie built the fire too far out of the fireplace, set the fire alarm off, and she jumps up out of the bed. We're laying on the bed in front of the fire talking, and she jumps up out of the bed, immediately runs, opens all the windows, opens all the doors, laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I casually get up off the bed. I walk over to one window, fling it open and smash my fingers.
Oh, I know. I
they
didn't do it.
That is my second major injury of the year. I still have a bloody fingernail because I literally, it's like smashing your fingers in a car door. I don't know what this window was wired with, but it's
lead window. Yeah.
But Laurie's laughing hysterically. Fire alarm's going off. This stone cottage is behind some nice big mansion of these people.
They were not there that night, though. Thank God.
Yeah. They could care less. Their stone cottage is burning down.
I have to say,
that's what it's like. That's what it's like to travel.
That fire was a little too roaring, but the second night, that fire was nice.
The second night, the fire was perfect.
Yes, it was perfect. Well, Jennifer, thanks for hopping on board and doing this little podcast with me. I, just love you so much, and I appreciate your friendship and always being there when I need you.
Well, thanks for being my friend and allowing me to protect you around the world. Although, if we had more time, maybe on the next random podcast, I can tell you the story about Laurie in Barcelona.
Oh, God.
So that's your teaser for the next time. I had to protect other people from Laurie. Let's just put it that way.
I was protecting you from potential trouble.
No. I was protecting other people from you. It's clear.
Hey, I'm tough. That's all I'm going to say. All right, Jennifer. Thanks again for chatting with me today. And everybody will be back next week with a real podcast, I guess.
What? This was the realest. The realest. Hashtag the realest
we are
podcast.
Fixing work. Super fixing work.
We are. Go get yourself a Sabbath and be a sober vegan in 2020.
Agree. All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Thanks.
If you're ready to make a real change in your workplace, start today by number 1, subscribing to Let's Fix Work on the Apple Podcasts app or iTunes or Stitcher or Android or wherever you listen. Number 2, write a 5-star rating and review. And number 3, share it with a friend, colleague, or coworker who you think would enjoy our episodes.